A lot of build-up, a lot of talk about that one. In the end, was that a little bit of an anti-climax for everybody?
Yeah, I don't think it was the best derby anyone's ever seen. I think it was poor from us in the first half. I don't think we reached the levels that we needed to reach and didn't play very well. So I probably wasted 45 minutes of everyone's time. And it was just bitty, like it was chopped up, there was no intensity, there was no flow, there were fouls, throw-ins, goal kicks, free kicks that took forever. But even so, we've got to get our foot on the ball. I think we wanted to stretch them in the first 5-10 minutes, which we did, and then created the space, but then didn't play through it like we wanted to. Probably lacked a bit of personality, a bit of bravery to get on the ball and play like we wanted to. And they came with a game plan, and it was quite long. It was second balls, and they did better than us in the first half. We corrected what we needed to, what we could, and then the second half performance was better. But I think we'd wasted time in the first half by doing what we did, so we were sort of playing catch up the whole time. But yeah, as a whole, it was probably a poor game.
Clearly, it's your set of fans that are disappointed with the result. I mean, but by everything you've said, clearly you sympathise with that. You understand that?
Oh yeah, no, 100%. I think to play, we wanted to play to win, and I think you should play to win. And yeah, we haven't won today, so it's frustrating. And it was just sort of bitty and gritty and not very. Yeah, I didn't live up to the expectations that I think everyone had set on it, which is a shame. But we also need to do better. And when the game is like that, or scenarios are like that, then we need to find a way to, get our foot on the ball and dominate and do what we want to do to teams, and not sort of suffer and just watch and wait for things to happen.
Quite a firm handshake between yourself and Mousinho at the end there.
Yeah, I didn't quite get that.
A little bit of bite to it, I suppose.
Well, it's just the derby, it's football, isn't it? I don't mind it, but I didn't understand why he just grabbed hold of my hand. Yeah. But fair play. He came with a game plan. He did what they wanted to do, and like I said, he's a good coach. He's a good manager, and he's done really good things with Portsmouth. So fair play to him. It's just part of football, so it's fine.
How disappointed the players, I suppose, because obviously the pressure to win was on your team rather than theirs, and maybe that made it a little bit more difficult for your players today. You felt that nervous energy a little bit?
I think we look like a team that has just gone back or playing a new system with new players, and we're not quite coordinated yet. I think we've done it for sort of 48 hours, and it's not quite right yet. And that's what it looked like in the first half. The passing lines, what space we're going to occupy, what are we going to attract to create space and then play. I think we just look like a sort of new team, which we kind of are in a way. And then we freed ourselves off a bit in the second half and started playing forward and started getting control of the ball. I think the second half was, we were totally in control, but just couldn't unlock it because we'd sort of wasted too much time.
I think there was a lot of moments, whether it was in the middle or in the box, where Cameron Archer was up against either one or two 6'4" centre halves. I mean, is that the situations you want to play in? No,
we want to get him in behind. We want to get a ball played on the floor in behind those big centre halves, and we're not quite getting it right yet. I think we've got to be honest with that. But like I said, we weren't going to turn up and just click our fingers and be a really good team. I think there's a lot of work to do. But we also can't be afraid of winning either. Like there seems to be this feeling of, we've lost so much that we're actually allowed to win. I think just get on with it and be brave and go again. I think last season's done. It was what it was. Turn the page and go again.
Last one for me, if I can. Obviously, a difficult game to come into, but fellows Yanda, Cienza all made their safe debuts. What would you think?
I think it's good to have them here. I think it's good to be able to put them in, and I thought they did pretty well. Considering the poor quality of the game, but again we're building them in. They've some of them have been here for 2 days, and we want to change. We want to be positive, and we want to get those things right. But it doesn't just happen like that. So I think that's most frustrating, and people kind of expect it to be, you've got the team that you want, you've got to do it. Yeah, I know, but it takes the time that it takes. So that's what we're doing, and there's only one way forward, is to get back on the training pitch, analyse what we need to analyse, and get the things right that we need to get right, and keep moving forward. Because we have actually kept a clean sheet, which is the first time in the league this season. And the second half was better, but we need to get on with it.
Thanks. Just
Just going to ask you about positive. You mentioned that you've spoken a little bit about the mistakes in recent weeks being really frustrating. Was the clean sheet, was the back four? Are you happier? Do you think with the shape and look of the defence today?
Oh, I think it's just good and important not to concede and not to give too much away. But yeah, we've got that bit right, and now we're working on the other bit. So you're trying to find a balance in between creating chances, not conceding. And building a new team, because it literally is a new team and there are a lot of new faces. And I've had to leave 6 players at home or out of the squad today, so it's just finding the right balance, and it's not going to happen overnight.
Have you been happy with the way players have reacted to that sort of increased competition? I'm sure everyone wants to play, of course, and make your job difficult, but are people reacting as you'd want them to?
I think it should only be a positive. I think you're at a big club, and there is big competition to play. And it should only make us better. It should only make us like a better team and better individuals. Because competition is there to, ultimately win the league or get promoted. So that's what we need to do, and it's what the players have got to feed off as well.
Well, in terms of the sort of occasion, atmosphere itself, was it kind of everything you kind of expected?
Yeah, I'm just disappointed that we couldn't give them anything back or anything to cheer about, or it's just a sort of a bit of a flat balloon in the end, and they deserved more, and we wasted everyone's time in the first half, and it was just a bit of a dull derby that didn't really reflect what we want to be and who we want to be. But again, maybe in a couple of months that will look different.
Will, so you're just saying about changing the mentality. How do you go about that? I mean, it's obviously a psychological thing, isn't it?
Just by working on it, by talking, by setting scenarios up in training, and helping the players sort of re-establish themselves as good football players, and them to believe in themselves in the first place, and then believe in the team around them. But you're picking a lot of people up, and you're picking a lot of baggage up, and at the same time you're also trying to get new players in that have brought their freshness and their adventure with them. And it's I'm not hitting the nail on the head, but Trolls was at Luton last year, and he knows what that looks like. You come down and you go down again, and it's difficult, because there's this sense of expectation, and it should just work, and you'd be the better players and you've got a better team. But it's happened in many cases where teams coming down then have a reality check of we've actually got to work hard at this, and I think we're in that area of our building process. And I hate the word process, but it is literally what it looks like. So I think that's just the honest answer of where we're at.
Just going back to that first half, who, if anybody, would you say came out of that with any credit?
The fans.
Fair enough. That's cool. You just talk about, you've mentioned last season as well and how difficult that was as well. Like, what kind of steps would you say you and your team are doing to maybe sort of banish those demons? Is this like a psychological point of view, or is this just fell on nerves? Why?
No, I think it's purely psychological. There were no nerves. There's no nerves to go and play a derby. You should just be excited by it and just get on with it. But you've when you lose a lot of games on the trot and you don't pick up very many points, you kind of forget the habits of what it looks like, what it feels like, and that's the reality for quite a number of players in here. So we're just trying to strike that balance of, right, this is what we're doing, this is where we're going, and you're adding a load of people around it and changing the look of it and changing the feel of it, and it just takes the time that it needs to take.